Hi, hope you're having a great week. This past week, I had so many experiences that took me so far outside my comfort zone. So I really want to share with you how we can actually assess and know if some of life's curveballs or challenges are actually blessings or actually curses. I told you last week that I was setting up something called a big bike week in my schedule, and the short of it is I rode over 500 miles this past week out there every second day for at least several hours, doing 100-mile multiple days, had friends join me, had a wonderful week with that, training hard and really making huge deposits, not just in my physical bank account, but my spiritual bank account. The amazing thing about that week was it got me out of my normal routine. And by getting out of my normal routine, I had so many different experiences, most of which I would call life's curveballs that really, on some level, can be perceived as your challenges. One of the things that happened is on one of the rides, I had multiple flat tires and I had to cut my ride short. So rather than riding a full 100 miles that day, I ended up riding 60 or 70. So I took a step back and thought, well, apparently the universe doesn't want me to ride that many miles. And one of the reasons why I saw that as a blessing is because 2 days earlier, my training partner and good friend who's racing Florida with me, Ironman Florida, he actually was on his way to meet me. We're probably 10 minutes from each other. He was meeting me at 50 miles halfway. He got hit by a car and he actually got T-boned by a car and his bike was a total write-off. So I get a call from my wife when I'm on the road. I talk to his wife and who's a little bit hysterical, not sure what happened. He's en route to an ambulance to the hospital. I still have 2.5 hours to get home on my bike. I finally get home, call him up, and I find out after all these tests and x-rays, he is absolutely perfect. He's a little banged up, he's got some scrapes here and there, but absolutely nothing wrong with him at all. No broken bones, nothing. I go over to his place and I look at his bike and it is a mangled piece of carbon and metal, and I truly believe it was divine intervention that he is not injured. Someone getting hit at that impact and for whatever reason that happening, he didn't get injured, he didn't get hurt, and it really took a step back for me is that you really got to open up and trust that the universe has a plan for us. So when I was set back, had some flat tires, I just saw, well, something is going to happen at mile 70, 80, 90, or 100 that I'm not supposed to experience, and to have 3 flat tires all in an hour is no accident. I mean, in the past 6 months, I haven't had any flat tires, and I get 3 all within the same hour. Come home, check my tires, there's no nail, no nothing. There's no specific reason I got a flat tire. Filled up my tires again, same tires, new tubes, no problem at all. Really interesting. My third day of riding, I was heading out on one of the local bridges here, and unfortunately, this bridge in particular, a lot of people that don't have such a optimistic or positive outlook on life have decided to take a walk on that bridge and possibly jump off to end their life and commit suicide. So I was going out on a ride. It was an evening. It was about 6:30 p.m. I had my head down, climbing a hill, working really hard. Normally I wouldn't have been out having a ride at that time. The road was quite busy, but I noticed the lane was actually closed and I couldn't figure out why. I thought there must have been an accident up ahead. I get up and right at the top of the bridge, I see this individual sitting right on a fence with his entire body on the other side of the fence ready to jump off. I kind of caught him by surprise. I freaked out a little bit, said a few things like, "What the heck are you doing?" And I got off my bike, I parked my bike, and while I was at university, I actually studied how to handle a crisis intervention, was a volunteer for many years handling crises. So I went through a whole intervention with him. I spent 15 minutes with him chatting, got him off the fence, got him on the other side, totally connected with him, began to reframe his experience. He was down on his luck. He was telling me how it wasn't worth it to live anymore. I totally met him where he was and shifted that. The reason why I'm sharing all this is because these are all the experiences I had in the past week that were out of my comfort zone, that we can easily see were challenges, were hardships, were bad things, and life kind of sucks and why is this happening? Or I can have the perspective that say that life is really folding the way it's meant to. It's really unfolding in its perfection. And I really have adopted a philosophy where I see life as nothing more than a series of synchronous events. And we're actually meant to step back and connect the dots to see the perfection, to see the synchronicities, to see how life unfolded. And that's really a fragment and fraction of what I experienced last week. And the reason why it was magnified for me was because I got so far out of my comfort zone. I was in places I normally wouldn't be. I was riding in places. I was even like south of the border in Washington State, riding the Cascade Mountains, doing a 100-mile ride out there. Got to see things, experiencing things, such amazing things, but these were some of the curveballs. So often in life when we see challenges, we think, man, this really sucks. And you know what? Sometimes it does suck, but all that is a limitation of your perspective, a limitation of your view, lens, or focus, or consciousness. And if you can shift your perspective and reframe the same way I got that individual who's ready to commit suicide, this mid 50-year-old man, I got him to reframe the situation, and as a result of that, he voluntarily got off that barricade fence to jump off, came to the other side, starting chatting with me, and actually about 15 minutes later, the police showed up and was like, thank you, and was super grateful simply by the act of reframing. That's what I want to share with you is in any situation, any time you're experiencing hardships or challenge, all it takes is a slight shift in your focus, a slight shift in your perception, and you can actually reframe anything in your life and actually see it as a blessing in disguise. And if you don't see it right away, sit with it. Sit in quiet contemplation and say, hey, there's got to be some beauty, there's got to be some lesson, there's got to be some learning, there's got to be some gift in this rich experience. And when we can take a step back and begin to connect the dots, what we'll actually find is that life is unfolding exactly as it should be in its perfection. And when we can see that, we can actually grow and learn, expand our awareness, be in a greater place of gratitude, and just really shine our light to the world. So thanks for listening to this longer vlog, my friend. I know I talk a lot about training, but for me, through training, through sport, training through life, I learned so many things, and I love to share all these ideas with you, and I trust that they add some richness and fullness to your life. So have a beautiful week, and we'll chat soon. Bye.